Dr. Fauci, looking back on it in retrospect, do you regret not firing him at that time?
Well, David, he was there for like 40 years or something, right? He was a part of the furniture. But if you think about it, I really did pretty much the opposite of whatever he said.
Yeah, that checks out, actually. He did do pretty much the opposite of what Dr. Fauci apparently wanted him to do. And it's, Francesca, it's such a weird quote to respond to because he's being honest. We know exactly what the product of him doing the opposite was devastating. But the guy that he's talking to and the audience that's gonna watch that just don't accept any reality, like any facts about what actually happened, so they don't care. Like, he obviously failed to contain the coronavirus. Maybe 500,000 people died that didn't have to. And he's telling you why, and it doesn't matter that he's revealing all that. Again, it's one of those things where it's,
it only matters to us.
It does. Like, it's not that I have high expectations for either the American people or for our political system or for our media. But one would think that if there was going to be some line, like 500,000 dead Americans needlessly would be that line, but it's not. They will applaud that line because they hate Dr. Fauci, the guy who wanted them to not get sick, more than Trump, the guy that is like bragging about the fact that he didn't listen to the experts and tons of people died. Literally, tons of people. If you piled up the needless corpses that came about as a result of his COVID strategy, it would be that way. So I don't know. I guess he's being honest. I guess finally he's being honest.
He's being honest, and it's interesting because I don't think he would have said it. Obviously, maybe he wouldn't have said it on Fox. I don't know where this guy was, but it doesn't matter. What was it?
It's Eagle News at America.com. I'm joking, I don't know, but might as well be. Most of the audience is Eagles, actually, older Eagles.
They're all Eagles. I'm sorry, I'm just imagining what the Eagles. Okay, we'll stop. Here's the thing.
They snack while watching TV, and they have hands.
They have hands.
Anyway, continue.
They're kind of like mice. Anyway, Eagle News. It's like, yeah, we know you did the opposite of Dr. Fauci, but when I first read this, I was like, man, that hurts. Like, it still hurts to know that someone based purely on their ego in a moment of a national health emergency and of a global pandemic, put their ego ahead of keeping us alive time and time again, and didn't go along with Dr. Fauci because he thought that COVID made him look bad. And COVID made him look worse than 500,000 people dying on his watch. So this makes me look weak, but the dead bodies don't make me look weak at all. And this is medieval. It is medieval stuff. Like, we will look back on it and be like Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, Donald Trump, like there are. This is authoritarian medieval stuff when you do not care how many bodies you need to prove that you are right, who don't even prove it, but you hide them behind, right? Yeah, you walk all over these people's lives and their legacies and their communities. It does not matter because you are correct, and no one can put a tiny little chink in your armor and say, hey guys, there's a pandemic, maybe we should slow our roll. No, not at all.
And again, you're totally right. He could have come out of this looking great if he'd taken it seriously. He could have presented himself as the great defender, but they decided not to. And like, there's different levels of being pathetic. Like the Republicans who, in theory, would have been fine with taking COVID seriously, but once it was clear that's not what the base was going to accept as a result of Trump and Fox, they signed up for, I guess we're not gonna do anything. That's like pathetic in its own way. But the way you presented about Trump is totally true. It's just a knee-jerk, like petty personal thing. It is literally it's no more grounded in any sort of conservative ideology than I think I look weak in a mask, so we don't do masks.
Yeah.
It is that petty, that pathetic. Anyway, I was gonna read more quotes of his. can't take it right now in the mood I'm in. So I'm gonna move on to the current state of the pandemic as a result of that. Because bear in mind, not only was he in charge for the first 9 months or so of the pandemic, but the anti-intellectual, anti-science, anti-mask, anti-vax, anti-living thing that he started is still very much out there. It's potentially stronger than it was before Biden was inaugurated. And they are still trying to get people to not get vaccinated and everything. So Biden might be in charge right now, but there is an opposition that is very powerful in advocating for COVID. So as of right now, in the last 2 weeks, deaths are still up on average, about 23% per day. We were over 2,000 deaths each day, but cases have started to go down about 18%. Hospitalizations are slightly down as well. So it is possible that in a month's time, all of those numbers will be significantly lower. But that said, I found some interesting little tidbits on the pandemic. One is that the life expectancy of American men fell by 2 years during the pandemic.
Wow.
That's like the difference between modern medicine and not. Like we worked for centuries to get that life expectancy up. Usually you need something like high fructose corn syrup to single-handedly slash life expectancy by that much, but they were able to do it. And unfortunately, as I said, the anti-intellectual thing that he started is very much out there. Representative in the House of Representatives, Lauren Boebert tweeted, "I woke up with a headache this morning. I took some Tylenol. Now, if everyone else could take some Tylenol too, so mine would start working, that would be great."
Oh God.
Do you get what she's going for? She doesn't. But do you get what she's going for there, Francesca?
Yeah. You're so dumb. Again, you little poor little shaky brains. All they're falling apart. I can't even put them back to. Oh, you're so dumb.
So dumb. Like it's so enthusiastically stupid. I don't know if it's more smooth brained or Anna has got me started on the baby brain thing.
The milky
or if it's
brain.
A brain that had milky brain.
Wet brain, milky brain.
It's like tres leches, but in a skull. Or if it's brain worms, which as I put out on Twitter, Tylenol does not treat, so she's screwed.
I would become Hannibal Lecter if there was tres leches up there. I'd be like, what if brains actually taste like tres leches? I'd be like the biggest mass murderer.
That is so embarrassing. But nobody gets embarrassed anymore. Well, maybe a little bit. Like Kayleigh McEnany, she tweeted the thing about the murders in 2020 and then had to just delete it. Like she ran from her tweet, but Lauren Boebert's was still up. You can't shame some of these people. They're beyond that. So yeah, it's just so pathetic.
She had to bounce back from the impeach Biden though. I mean,
by looking, she needs to always be doing something stupider than the last thing she did to distract you from that stupidity.
But I mean, this is the thing. It's like, and look, I've said this from the beginning, but we live in a world where people really don't sit around to read an article or don't, they barely even want to watch like a 7-minute YouTube video. They need a GIF of how viruses work. They need to see the spraying droplets. They need to understand what vaccines do. You need some Sesame Street level stuff to get to people. And I know that sounds dumb. I don't know, get The Rock on it, get somebody on it. But like that tweet has been retweeted by people who do not understand the way vaccines work, do not understand the way viruses spread, do not understand what it is when you like protect a broad community. They don't even understand how you get anything contagious, right? They're just like, these are people who think you can get gay by just hanging out with someone who's gay. Like that's their level of like what is contagious.
Yeah, we are, I mean, you might remember this video that went viral. We are no better than the you fart out your butt and it goes through your pants woman, like as an argument against masks. That's what we are as a country. Put it on our money. You fart out your butt and it goes through your pants. That's what we are. And that woman,
put it on our money.
That woman isn't smarter than Lauren Boebert.
Please Photoshop that somebody.
We need it as a shirt. You fart out your butt and it goes through your pants.
I need that on a, what kind of dollar bill? I'm thinking.
So every single one of them, and just put that woman's face or butt in place of the president. I don't care. Anyway, in New York, State officials are bracing for staffing shortages when the state's healthcare worker vaccination mandate takes effect on Monday. That could mean declaring a state of emergency to allow healthcare professionals from outside of New York to come to New York and work, or recent graduates and retirees could practice there. They might need to use the National Guard, and there's other things that they're doing. The reason they're doing this is because they are mandating that healthcare professionals get vaccinated, and they're worried enough of them won't. These are nurses and doctors and EMTs, and they might not get vaccinated a year and a half into a pandemic that has killed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people because you fart out your butt and it goes through your pants, and that's what we are. And just because people go to med school doesn't mean they're any better than the woman that is crop dusting a Panera. That's what we are as a country.
You know I've been that woman.
Francesca? This is how you probably have. This is how stupid of a country we are. That we need, you talked about we need The Rock or like Sesame Street or whatever. We need this study. CDC, schools with mask mandates see fewer COVID-19 outbreaks. Well, the hell you say? We're still, and here's the thing. We're knocking it like, I guess, like, oh, it's so shocking. But there's like 30% of the country that won't even accept that because it comes from the CDC, which is run by Bill Gates, who is Beelzebub. But yes, you have less outbreaks when you wear a mask because masks stop germs. Or do they, since you fart out your butt and it goes through your pants? We can't even arrive in unity on the position that germs are stopped by masks.
No, and exactly. And so that's what that's why we are all crazy, those of us who believe in science, because you gotta pick a lane. Either you're against masks or you're against the vaccine, but you can't be both because COVID is real. So how do you stop it? If you don't wanna wear a mask anymore, hey, I'm with you. Get effing vaccinated. But no, the vaccine doesn't work, but also masks don't work. But is COVID real? Oh my God, people. Like, do we need, we should just break off the lower half of the country. They can float into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll call it, COVIDania or something cute, or like, COVIDstan, I don't know. And it's just oil and prisons, high maximum security prisons, and I don't know. Like I just feel like, and just Gone with the Wind playing all the time. I'm like, what movie do they want? Movie night, Gone with the Wind again? Okay, but remember when men were men and black people were slaves? Loved it. Anyway, so
that, or like the first half of American History X. They love that. They cut it off at the halfway point. There shouldn't be any learning.
I didn't like the middle part. He's just kind of.
This is a movement.
The arc is not believable.
Why would he change? This is a movement that to this day uses Fauci lying to them in saying they don't need masks. They say that constantly and do not have the takeaway. So I guess I do need masks.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.